Hello and welcome to a wonderful Friday morning with Intrepid English when I do a video called Ask Us Anything, which is when I cover so many different things in English. It could be grammar, it could be punctuation, it could be pronunciation. There's anything on the English language. And today I'm going to cover the English grammar rules to remember. This was asked by one of our wonderful students as he wanted to know what can be tricky for learners, what are the rules to remember so that you don't stumble and trip in English and that you have better fluency. Because let's be honest, one of the most difficult things about learning a new language is learning the grammar rules, because every language is different. And while English grammar can seem at the beginning easy compared to some languages like Arabic, Russian, German, even I think German's more difficult than English, but hey, that's because I'm English probably. But in English, a small mistake can easily change the meaning of what you want to say. And also the problem that you have is that in the English language, because it's evolved so much over time through Shakespeare, Chaucer, and just so many influences from different languages. You know, the French language has a massive influence on the English language over the years, because the monarchy actually a long time ago the aristocracy used to speak French more than English in England. Okay, so there's been a lot of influences over time in English language. So the problem that a lot of English learners have is that you think you learn a rule and then there are 1,000,001 exceptions. That's the problem with English grammar. So I'm actually going to do this video in multiple parts because there's quite a lot of information and I want it to be easy to assimilate, to understand. So first I should mention that I am not going to be including the basic rules in English, which are obviously using capital letters at the beginning of a sentence, or with a proper adjective or proper noun. What do I mean by proper adjective and proper noun? A proper adjective is French, and you always have with a capital F, and a proper noun is France, which is always with a capital F. I'm also not going to talk about basic positive word order, so it's always subject, then verb, and object, but sometimes we don't need the object, but we always have a subject and we always have a verb, and it's always in that order, subject, verb. I'm also not going to talk about the punctuation rules, which I'm going to cover in a later video, so after I've done this little series of the grammar rules to remember. I'm also going to quickly cover in this video the myths that you have in English. So what are myths? They are these rules that you learn and are told that they are rules in English, but they're not rules. It's all a lie. So this is so unfair of us, but we even teach our own children in our own schools a spelling rule that is a myth. And that is I before E except after C. This is a spelling rule so that you always spell I-E except after C when you would put C-E-I. This is not true, okay? It's true for words such as receive, peace, thief, ceiling. All of those words follow the rule I before E except after C. Yet we have words in English that don't follow that rule at all. Height. You know, that's E-I, and there's no C in that word. Weight, that's E-I, no C in the word. Seize, E-I, with no C. Weird, E-I, no C. Neighbor. Okay, so these are very common words that we use all the time, and they don't follow that spelling rule. Another myth, myth number 2. Prepositions can't go at the end of sentences. This is not true. because when we have phrasal verbs, we often have the preposition at the end of the sentence. And for questions, sometimes the preposition is at the end of the sentence. So again, this is a myth. It's not all the time. A lot of the time you can't put the preposition at the end of a sentence, but it is possible. So for example, who can I depend on? Okay, on is a preposition. It's at the end of that question. And the reason is because it's depend on, it's a phrasal verb. That is something I cannot agree with. Again, with is a preposition, it's at the end of the sentence because it's with agree with. Okay, so that's a myth. The third myth I want to talk about comes from Victorian times, and it is that you are not allowed to split infinitives in English. This is not a rule at all. An infinitive, so to go, to win, to sing, to dance, is split when a word or a phrase, and it's usually an adverb, appears between to and the verb. And so they used to say you cannot separate to and the verb, but this is not true, okay? For example, John wants to never worry about the future again. To never worry. So to, worry, and we got never in between it. It is splitting the infinitive. Next example, I would like to better understand your needs in English. Better, an adverb, is going in between to understand. We ask everyone to kindly turn off their mobile phones. You hear that on every flight. And it is splitting the infinitive. And example number 4, it's okay to sometimes split infinitives, especially with an adverb, okay? So we can split infinitives. So there were 3 myths that are not rules. I'm now going to just quickly give you a list of two or three important rules, and more rules I will tell you more about next week, okay? So, number 1, adjectives and adverbs. Make sure you use adjectives and adverbs correctly. Adjectives describe, identify, quantify people or things, which are nouns, and usually go in front of a noun. They don't change if the noun is plural. Very important to remember. In some languages that happens, not in English. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs, and usually come after the verb. So adjectives, nouns, adverbs, verbs. For example, he's a slow driver. Slow is an adjective because we have the noun, driver. He drives slowly. So we've got slowly adverb because we're describing how he drives. So we're describing the verb. So please see the video that I did in the Ask Us Anything playlist for the order of adjectives, which is really, really important in English because there is a set order for the different types of adjectives when you want to use more than one adjective in a sentence. Now, most adverbs are created by adding li to an adjective. So, like I said with the example, we've got slow, slowly. But a few adverbs are irregular. So, for example, fast is an adjective, fast, adverb. Hard adjective, hard, adverb. Good adjective, well, adverb. So, for example, your English is good. Your English is good. So it's an adjective. You speak English well. So we're using the adverb because we are describing how that person speaks. So the verb. The last point, I'm going to leave it there and do another video on the next important grammar rules. So please go and check out the other video. And if you have any questions, please let me know on any of the myths that I talked about, or if you had any questions on adjectives and adverbs. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Be sure to check out the next video.